Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Canada Unpacked, where we break down Canadian immigration one story at a time. We're your host, Deandra.
And I'm Barbara.
We're two immigrant RCICs who believe in leading with empathy, backed by strategy. And today, we're going to bring you a little bit of post election immigration rundown.
Yeah, it's been a lot. It feels like it's just been like waiting for this to happen essentially.
Yeah.
The last I would say like 6 weeks, every time I would go on my channels, on my socials, do my lives, every question was like, when is the next CEC draw?
Yeah.
And at first I was like, oh, there's got to be one before the election. Like this was like 6 weeks out. And then there was like speculation it won't happen until after the election. And as we got closer and closer to the election and we didn't have one, I was like, okay, yeah, I think they're right. Don't anticipate it until after the election because I think they weren't sure what was going to happen, right? None of us were. And so they needed things to settle. And now they have. Carney is in. And now I think now what we're going to see a buildup of people who have been sitting with like 500 points, 510 plus points in express entry through CEC start getting inviting now in the next couple of weeks is my prediction.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I also wonder about how that, I also wonder about like whether that score is going to drop a little bit though. Because remember, the job offer points have been taken away now, and I'm wondering if that, like, we won't see a bit of a drop in the score to get an invitation to apply as well.
Yeah, I did. I think that will drop. I don't know if it will drop all the way. I would love it to drop. Okay, like in real, if we're going, okay, what do we hope to happen? 470, that would be amazing.
Chef's kiss.
What do I think will happen? Not that. I don't think it'll get there. Like maybe the 490s. I mean, that's the thing. We just don't know. Like we
Yeah.
really, truly just don't know. And so anyone below 500, my tip is still to push for other doors to open as well. Like go explore points increases, also go explore other programs.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's been the strategy I've suggested to most of my clients at this point because I mean, we it's hard to even suggest PNP now because so many of the PNP programs have like with that allocation of applicants that they can bring in so much lower now because of the immigration levels. PNP is not necessarily the greatest strategy because the backlog in most of those programs now have eaten up their quotas, right? So,
Yeah, I think it's gonna be the year in terms of PNP, it's gonna be a year where who have been waiting to get approved, who submitted last year in 2024, they're gonna start to get approved. Like
yeah,
BC PNP in particular made a very transparent statement that they literally have thousands of applications backlogged from last year and they just weren't sure how to divvy up the nominations this year. They figured out a plan. So we're gonna start seeing approvals for those thousands of people across Canada who applied to PNP last year and have just been sitting and waiting for a decision.
yeah,
So that'll be like the year of the PNP PRs who kind of started their journey last year,
last
like
year.
a while ago. So that is hope for them. And then it's going to be really like a niche year for PNP, at
Yeah.
least for BC. Like BC has stated they're really focusing on healthcare and
Hmm.
like very, very few they call it high economic impact roles. Not much more detail outside of that statement.
Yeah.
So for healthcare, BC PNP is still excellent, but if
Mhm.
you're outside of healthcare,
It's gonna be that.
it's so tough. Like there's like maybe 100 spots,
Yeah.
maybe. So it's very much looking elsewhere. Yeah, and then I know RCIP. I still think RCIP is going to be exciting. I know it doesn't have a massive quota, but this is the first year. So I think, yeah, post-election, we are seeing some communities start posting their jobs and employers that are designated.
Yeah.
So I think things are gonna start happening too now. So that's another like post-election
Yeah.
um, kind of movement forward, I think we're starting to see it blossom because it was a bit like stagnant for a while, like, no updates for a while.
Yeah, it was no updates for a long time. And remember that program was announced in January.
Mm.
So we knew from January that, okay, there's this new pilot program. We knew the list of participating communities, but none of those communities had any websites up. And then when they started trickling the websites out in around like March or so, the websites had nothing on it. And so
Yeah,
at the end of
they're
April,
like come back later.
yeah, it was like the website's not up. Come back later. And now we're seeing them like actually start posting information about like which occupations and sectors they're gonna focus on. And Timmins obviously led the charge with like
Actual
really,
employers.
yeah,
Yeah.
with releasing their employer list. And it does look small right now, but it's expected that more employers will be added as they go. They're just getting a start right now, you know? Uh,
Yeah, and who's to say how many workers those employers need? Like some of them did seem like larger companies, so they could be, individually searching for, several staff to fill roles within. So it's certainly still worth exploring, worth applying. I spoke with someone recently who applied for a role with the RCIP, which was
Amazing.
super exciting. And I'm like, yeah, just do it. You don't know what it's going to be. You still need to land that job, which is it's hard anytime you're trying to land a job, right? It's stressful. Like, do you have the right resume, the cover letter, the interview process? Like that,
Yeah.
like you still have that hurdle, but why not get that started?
Yeah, exactly. Like, as we always say on this show, preparation's key, right?
Mm-hmm,
Uh,
mm-hmm.
and that's something that any of my clients that I've had talks with about RCIP since January, I've been telling them kind of prepare yourself, like make sure your resume is updated, like know what kinds of jobs you're looking for, like search around on Indeed and LinkedIn and see what's out there in those areas and all that stuff. And then when the eligibility requirements came out, I was like, oh, now we have even more information to like
Yeah.
start preparing,
Yeah.
right? Because you know you need this, this, this. And so I think that those are the people that are going to like see results from the RCIP, the ones who have
Yes.
like, taken some time before and done a little bit of preparation there. But
Particularly those who are going to see results with RCIP in 2025.
yes.
Someone who's already started prepping and looking into things, or maybe even working in the community already.
Hmm.
I think this will be their year. But
Hmm.
that program does run for 5 years, so someone could start prepping now and with a potential for a 2026
Yes.
submission because they will have a quota for each calendar year, so it
Hmm.
may be a matter of prepping for next year
That's in the next
as
one.
well. But
And
yeah.
don't forget that the program isn't just open to temporary residents here in Canada. It's also open to foreign nationals from abroad.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to think about that too, that there's going to be people that are still in their home countries with great experience for these roles. So you've got to be really, really strategic and really prepared to land the jobs, right?
Yes, yeah, if you have a skill set that Canada is looking for, this is certainly an option for you. And we of course love the program because there's no invitation, there's no point system. If you
Yeah.
meet the criteria, five things you
Yeah.
can apply,
Yeah.
and inside outside Canada doesn't matter. So that I think that'll be a great program. Again, it's not massive in terms of the numbers, but people who do fit into it, this will be and have been prepping.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see movement now post election, now that things have kind of settled politically a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we're going to start seeing
See
Tim,
that.
and like you said, Timmins leading. I love Timmins. Timmins is really on top of it
Very.
with the RCIP.
They were ready. They were the first ones that had a website out. Timmins
Hmm.
had their list of like key sectors out first, and then they came with the designated employers list. They were like,
Hmm.
yeah, we're ready to go.
Yeah,
So
they're the first PRs through RCIP. I bet are going to be the Timmins.
it's gonna be for Timmins.
We
If
love
it's not for
Timmins.
Timmins, I would be shocked.
Shout out to Timmins,
Shout
crushing
out
it.
Timmins. Timmins and the Sioux.
Yeah, yeah. Sue also like is a very their website is like beautiful and like very attractive. I was like, do I want to live in the Sioux? Like it really makes you want to live in that community.
I
Like
really
they
thought
they're
about
doing a
it.
good job.
I really thought about it. I was like, do I want to move to a rural community? Like, is this for me as
Should
well?
I apply to the RCIP? You could, because you could look at the job list too, I guess. And you're like, are they looking for what I have to offer?
Exactly. I mean, like you said, now that we've like the election is kind of behind us and we're getting into that post-election like settling period, I think we'll see a lot more movement in the immigration space as a whole. But definitely
Yeah.
with the RCIP, we'll see. I think we'll see more regular draws and express entry as well, because
Yes.
it feels really sporadic lately, eh?
Super sporadic and just there no CEC draws for a very long time. And so,
Yes.
yeah, I would love, I mean, when I first started practicing, you could 100% accuracy predict when the next draw would be. Like they were that on schedule, like even like to the hour kind of thing.
Mhm.
And it hasn't been like that for a really long time, and particularly in the last few months with the election looming and everything. So I think we're going to get back on track with seeing those CEC draws. So anyone with the 500 plus CEC, I think you're going to see some movement. So this is your time to prep.
Mhm.
Get ready because those 60 days go fast once you get an ITA, and it's very common to not be prepared and get to that 60 day and be like, oh my God, I don't have XYZ document.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
And so, yeah, if anyone 500 plus, then the healthcare, STEM, trades, educator draws as well. We haven't seen them yet in 2025. So again, post election, I think we're going to start seeing movement there. So all my teachers, all my nurses, this will be the year.
don't forget that nice, like, that slip in they did in the trades category with cooks. Like, I
Yeah,
think we're gonna see the
the
movement in the
cooks.
trades. I know that,
And the butcher, I
yes.
had my first like butcher reach out on a TikTok live being like, I'm in the pool, I'm a butcher. And I was like, this is your year. Like, you are the only occupation in the agri-food category. They are only targeting butchers. So when there's a draw, it's you against all the other butchers. I
Yeah,
can't imagine there's very many.
like,
So, like,
it
this is
might,
also the year for butchers.
it might be like that OINP draw in January where they invited 4 people. That was crazy. But speaking of OINP, that's another one that I know that the prediction has been kind of around the fact that there probably may not be any more draws, or if there is, it's going to be really small
Yeah.
because they have such a big backlog. But I am kind of thinking that just like the January draw, it's going to be that foreign worker stream because
Mm,
that focus here in Ontario has been on trades and healthcare for sure.
yeah.
So I think it's gonna be surrounding that, if there is another one this year. But the backlog is so heavy that it's anybody's guess if or when that'll happen this year.
Yeah. And do you think East Coast provinces will provide some transparency in terms of the numbers, the way BCPMP did, stating like this is the exact number of applications we still haven't processed, and therefore like this is what we're anticipating? Like they got really like down and dirty with the numbers and just
Yeah,
gave us everything, which was,
which was
startling,
yeah,
but grateful too, because it's like, okay, now we know where we stand.
yeah. At least you're not in that limbo where you're like, will they, won't they?
Yeah.
It's a lot. With East Coast PNP, I know that New Brunswick opened up a couple of streams this month. I don't know if they're going to be transparent though. Not as transparent as BC has been. I feel like BC led the charge with that by saying like, listen, we know there's a lot of people waiting. This is how much we can take. These are the sectors we're going to prioritize. But remember that the East Coast has been really blessed with, with how like starting off with the Atlantic immigration pilot, now the program, and they've had this huge influx of workers to help fill those labor shortages and to kind of have the immigration levels plan just like there's a wrench in there right now.
Yeah.
I think there might be a bit of kind of in the background of kind of like, holy smokes, how do we deal with this? Like, what do we do? So I don't know if they're going to be as transparent. I'm hoping they will, because at least that will like stop the chaos a little bit, because there's I can tell you that I've had so many consultations where people are just like panicked and they're like, I've been waiting for a draw from this program or waiting for an invitation from this program and nothing's coming. Like, what's happening? What are they going to do? So I hope that all the provinces follow suit, but especially Ontario and East Coast provinces, because those are the places that we have so much, like we have so many people waiting in the wings and looking for opportunities to stay. And given the labor shortages out on the East Coast as well, I hope that they're just transparent so we know like what they're prioritizing and we can focus our efforts on those things. So crossing our fingers.
Yeah. One of these moments of crossing the fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we'll see lots of shifts and change, and that's about it. Back to the steady, back to the focus.
Yeah.
French as well continue to play a role. So anyone like pursuing French, studying French, that's still a good idea in my books. Like it's certainly not going to hurt anything. It has the potential to just open another door for you, both for the French, like the FCIP, like the French Community Pilot Program, and the French category draws in Express Entry.
Yeah.
So it's French is very strong and will continue to be for sure. And outside of that, another thing to remember, anyone listening, is that a lot of these programs you can still pursue from outside of Canada.
Yes.
So if you do get to the point, and we have had like clients, success stories of where they did get to the point where they just couldn't extend anymore their worker status for one reason or another, they had to leave.
Had to
But
go.
they still had profiles active,
Yeah.
whether it's a PMP or an express entry, and you can still be invited from outside of Canada. And we've seen that happen, and then they're able to return as a permanent resident. So that's the kind of backup plan, I would say. I like to have plan A, B, and C, and then like I'd say that's the D. Like
Yeah.
you leave, but you keep your profiles active for PR.
Yeah, and stay ready, right? Because you could get the invitation to apply at any point. And on that same note, I think that's worth it to note that about the RCIP as well. Like if you're applying from abroad, like let's say you were here on a work permit, it's expired, you have to go back home. You can apply from abroad, and there's an optional work permit associated, a closed work permit associated with the RCIP. So you might not be out of status for that long, because once that PR application is in through the RCIP, you can apply for the work permit and be able to proceed to Canada and work for that designated employer.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there's options, and it's I think we've talked about this before. It just takes courage, because it can feel so frustrating and heavy and like you're slogging your way through it. But if this is truly your big goal, there's actually kind of a lot of options, but you gotta be brave enough to walk through them and walk through them all the way, I will say too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And patient too. I think it takes a lot of patience, because holy moly, there's a lot of immigration programs. There's a lot of pathways you can take to get to the same goal. And I think it requires a lot of patience, especially in this like immigration climate.
Yes.
I think it takes a lot of that. Like you can't rush the process, because IRCC won't rush their processing times, right?
No.
So it just takes patience and some courage, and you eventually get to the goal, right?
Yeah. But yeah, that's it. Do you have any other predictions or thought? We've got C draws 500 plus, maybe lower, but we'll have to wait and see for that. We've got category based draws hopefully starting up now. We're over a quarter of way into 2025. Haven't seen any yet. They should start now to get your profiles ready. And then I'd say like for PMPs, it's exploring the niches, like see if any provinces, like what are they specifically targeting, and if that is you and your profession, then I think that's the only way PMPs are really going to be utilized in 2025, particularly.
Mm-hmm.
And then the RCIP and just getting creative and out of the box and perhaps having like a strategy session if you're thinking East Coast stuff. Deandra is a specialist in that. She can strategize. If you're thinking healthcare, BC, I can help you there. Have tons of healthcare and also educators too. I love that the teachers are like coming out of the woodwork with the educator draw happening soon too.
The teachers are finally getting their chance. Like I had some great conversations with social workers from abroad.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause that's on the list too for
Mm-hmm.
like in demand occupations. So I love that the educators and the people that do community work are getting their due.
Yes. Yeah. They're being highlighted. We're bringing them in. We're bringing in their skill set and their knowledge and wisdom to support here, which is beautiful.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
All right. Well, we'll have to watch this episode at the end of the year and see if anything came true.
I hope it ages well.
Yeah. So these are our Canada Unpacked 2025 predictions in a post-election Canada. The election happened last night, so the time recording is one day post-election, and we'll publish this episode a little bit after that. But thank you for listening, tuning in. Please do subscribe to our channel. We share real immigration stories as well as insights, tips, advice that you can take along in your own journey. We're two RCICs very passionate about helping others build a life in Canada because we're immigrants who built a life in Canada as well, and loving it. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next episode.